Actually, it's twice a week. A little behind. And what you do, you do. Welcome back to Yogaxpress, your virtual stretch clinic that helps you move the body to still the mind. My name is Banu Suresh. I'm your host for this program. I'm sure you're all wondering what we have in store for you today. Well, I have a very happy surprise. We have the same team both in the control room and on the mat today. And our special guest, Jill Camera, is back with us with more plans for restorative stretching. So here's what we have planned for you. Oh, well, I'm not going to give away Jill's plans, but here's what our program has got planned for you. Before we do the restorative stretches, I can't even say, it's a bit of a tongue twister.
It's like a mantra.
That's right. Jill is going to do a quick recap of what we did yesterday. And then we are going to get into a few more stretches, possibly repeat the last couple of stretches that we did yesterday. Some of you may have missed it. Sometimes we run a little out of time, so we may have run out. So we're going to do a little bit of a recap before we get into the new stretches. Before we move on, I'd just like to do a little bit of housekeeping. If you come here and stretch with us on the show, you will get a copy of my third title, Yoga Secrets, which has 2 + 8 ailment-specific cards, and which can be very easily adapted by someone as experienced as Jill. She can easily adapt these postures for you, make them even simpler, which is basically what she's treating us to now. She's actually taking us through very simple stretches, so you'll have more guests like Jill coming on. But having Jill on the show, Jill, it's been an amazing experience. The last couple of days, I think Sarah and I have been totally fully charged.
Yes.
Before I forget, I want to thank our crew, Josiane Hurd and Carol Lewis and Kristen Kofer, responsible for the studio lights and sound. I'd like to reintroduce Sarah Torres. Sarah, thank you for coming back. As soon as the cameras get on you, there they are. Sarah, you and your tattoos are always welcome on the show. I love that.
And her beautiful nails.
I know, and your lovely nails too. And you got that fancy ring over there. What's happening?
Oh, this I just happened to get this out the salon, the hair salon, this hair supply store.
Oh, right.
They have little jewelry and so.
She has these amazing piece of jewelry. The other day you came, you had this lovely little white flower on a band.
Oh, it was like a headband.
Yeah.
Yeah, like.
It sounds so. I don't know. I find it difficult even. I don't know where you find all those pretty things.
That was at the hair supply store too. Yeah.
Ah.
Good resource.
That's right.
I'll bring you some feathers, purple.
Can you see me wearing feathers? Actually, that purple one looked good on your hair.
Yeah.
She wore some lovely
I can
light
see you in
purple
feathers.
Right. Yeah. Look nice.
To reintroduce Jill Camera, Jill has been with us 2 days in a row, back to back. She has shared some amazing restorative stretches. I got it right this
Thank
time.
you,
Jill,
yes.
Jill, I know you gave this beautiful explanation about chakras 2 days ago, and then you got a little deeper into it. Can you give us a quick recap of what you did yesterday and where we are going from there?
Sure. We were talking about how the yoga postures are designed to redirect to some degree the energies in the body.
Right.
If the energy is too heavy, it'll bring a sense of lethargy along with other things. If it's too light or not enough in the body, of course we know what that brings. So balancing chakras are basically a map of the various energies that run up and down the spine.
Right.
And the yoga postures serve to balance those energies, basically. And we worked a little bit 2 days ago with some chair postures.
Right.
And the main focus for the past 2 days has been the 5 actions of the spine. How the spine can be upright, where the energies flow up and down. The spine can twist, which is a nice detoxifying thing for the organs, but also helps to move the energy around a little bit. The spine can stretch side to side. The spine can forward bend, which is probably the one we're most used to.
Right.
But then it can also back bend, and we do that a lot in yoga to counteract, and the spine can go upside down. So we'll
That's
continue.
what Sarah's dying to do.
Yes, one next time I'll bring my blocks and we'll get her upside down.
Yay.
But
I'm
today
so
I thought
excited.
we'd work.
I'm serious.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's very enlivening to go upside down. I mean, you
Right.
literally see the world from a whole
Oh, I'm
new
sure the world
perspective.
looks better upside down,
Yes,
much better.
it can really rock your world. And then, so I thought we'd start today with our shoulder openers, which we finished up with yesterday,
Right.
and then we'll start working on the legs, which are the grounding chakras.
Okay.
So
Oh, you have-
we'll get right to it, and we'll come into a pose called Virasana, hero's pose.
Oh.
And we start with the knees together. We bring the feet about mat's width apart, and then we use a block as a little extra cushion. It doesn't have to be a block. You could have a thick book or two, or even a pillow will work.
It has to be a block. I mean, something has to go there.
No, not really. It depends on how you're configured. Ultimately, the pose is flat on the floor. So, yeah, Sarah, you are amazingly
so
flexible.
uncomfortable with
Banu
the block.
also.
I
All
just
right,
said
you know
something.
what?
I'm
You
not
don't
very
need the block.
comfortable. I'm just trying it, but I'm going to use the block.
Are you? Yeah, it depends.
I need
How does
this.
that feel for you?
It feels good. My ankle was hurting me when I was up here.
Interesting.
I
Okay,
thought
so
maybe
that,
it was just because
I need this.
Sarah brought up a good point. Sometimes the props are a hindrance. Sometimes,
Okay.
for most part, they're a help, but sometimes they're a hindrance. So you always want to, of course, take what the teacher says and follow his or her instruction.
Right.
But at the same time, you have to be aware of your own body. That was such a good question. So, but let's do this, Sarah. Come on up again. What you do want to make sure is there's lots of space behind the knee. So you'll take your thumb and place it right on your, and Bono, yes, you're going to do this with us, in your calf muscle. Press that down and out. So you're making space here, and then you come to sit down.
Oh, so
between
that
the
doesn't
feet.
get in the way.
Exactly. You could also even put little washcloths there, just
Okay.
if you felt discomfort. And then the heels come back. And then another nice trick if you're down on the floor is you take your hands, slide the flesh of the knee up.
There's not much of that now as I
No,
grow
there's not
older.
right. So,
that kind of
whatever's
hurt
there.
my knee doing that.
all right, so then don't do that. That's
Oh.
yeah. Now, are you sure
Right,
that's comfortable
so-
or you want the block?
How long will she have? Will we?
We're going to stay there for a while. So even
Oh,
even
wow.
myself.
Yes. Maybe you want to use.
Yeah, I prefer when you're staying for quite a long while, it's nice to have the block there for the little extra.
So what should I do to not hurt my ankle?
I would say start up on the block. There's a classic way to learn to do this pose so that you're ultimately on the floor. And it'll be obsolete soon, so I'll tell you, and you'll have it. You can take 1 or 2 phone books, and you sit on those phone books. And then every day, you take a page out of the phone book.
Oh, so
And
you're
little by
bit
little,
lower.
you'll accommodate, your body will accommodate until finally there's no pages left in the phone book, and you're down,
I
sitting
think
down.
phone books are getting obsolete
That's
too.
what
Oh,
I
is that
meant.
what you meant?
Yes.
Okay.
So I
You
don't
won't
know
have them
how we're gonna,
anymore.
books will be obsolete also. I guess we'll have to say you take, 3 iPads and stack them up or something.
I don't want those magnetic waves
Right,
running through my chakra.
not there.
my
No.
spine.
Not at the root chakra. No. But yeah, we'll have to think of something else as they get obsolete. But for now, we've got our good old blocks, and this might be a little bit more comfortable just for sitting a long period of time. And we'll go right into our shoulder stretch. So you're going to reach one arm up. We'll take our right arm up. And then you'll bend it behind you. So maybe you'll touch your right shoulder blade or your left shoulder blade. Then you'll take your opposite hand and gently open up that shoulder. So you draw that elbow back. Now, sometimes when we do one action, they'll do a compensatory strategy, it's called. we tend to, since we're pulling the arm back, we'll jut the rib cage forward. So we'll lose some of the good action of the spine. So you want to draw the waist back so you really get that stretch there. And then you could bring the opposite arm down. And then let's take the top arm down too.
Hope the other arm stays.
Yeah. Then we'll do it step by step.
Okay.
Then we're going to do the opposite arm, same thing. So arm comes up, bends behind you, take your other arm, gently draw the elbow back. And this is what I meant by the compensatory strategy. You're pulling the arm back and the chest will go forward. So you have to draw the waist back so you don't lose the extension of the spine. Good, couple of breaths here. And then you can release both arms down. Take a few shoulder stretches back and then forward. Again, let's take that first side. Bring the arm out to the side. And keep the arms soft. And do a right behind you. And then take it out again.
Make the sound as well?
Yes, you can make that sound. It's
I was going to
I was going to say, you know what we could do is a lion's breath.
All right. Okay, so
Or-
are you ready yet? There's actually a breathing.
Yeah, you can do it. Actually, lion's nice. You stick out your tongue. Gets all the stale energy out. All the stale breath. Good. And let's do the same thing other side. Arm out. Or and then the other side. Good. That's very good. And then both arms down. So now we're going to put the two together. So take the first arm up, bend it behind you, and then take the second arm back and around to that position. Now, you can, I'll turn around for the camera. You can hold on to your fingers if that is accessible to you. You can also hold on to your shirt and draw the elbows away from one another that way. So you want to feel the elbows stretching wide, the armpit chest opening up, and particularly watch the shoulder of the arm behind you, that's not coming forward.
No.
Good.
So the left in this
Yes,
case.
in this case, the left, so you want to draw that back. And then, I'm doing opposite, and then come on down. We could release the arms and a few shrugs forward and back. And we'll take the opposite side. So the left arm will be up, behind, right arm will behind you, and there's that right shoulder. So you can catch the fingers or hold onto your shirt and draw the elbows away. But in this case, the right shoulder is very widely. I love that term, compensatory strategy. Your body will compensate when you try and get it to move in a particular direction. So you have to watch. So you have to draw that shoulder back, stretch the elbows away from one another, and make sure the lower abdominals pull in. And this is called Gomukhasana arms. Nice shoulder opener. We do it any time of day, and then release. And we'll do a few shoulder shrugs back and forth. We could have used our belt, but we didn't. We had our shirts instead. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's nice option. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if
To
I
hold
have
onto the shirt.
problems reaching my hands together on one side, because usually one side feels tighter for me. So, okay.
That's a very good point, Banu. Usually one side is tighter than the other, so you may need the strap on one side or hold your shirt on
Right.
the other. So let's do a little symmetric move just to get the shoulders even, and we'll simply reach the arms up, press the seat down, take a couple of breaths here, and then exhale the hands down. Lovely, ladies. Let's come off of our padding, and we're going to go right into a runner stretch to wake up the backs of the legs. Now, if you like, you can take your two blocks. There's one right behind you,
yeah.
Sarah. Yep. And put that at the top of your mat.
In front of the banana.
Yes, then there's Sarah's.
Sarah's
It doesn't
snack.
sound right.
Sarah's
There's Sarah's
lunch.
banana. Sarah's lunch is better. Okay. And you're going to bring your hands onto your blocks. And I like to place the palm of my hand at the edge. That gives me a better feeling. And then you're going to stretch your right leg back behind you, curl the toes under. So that should feel nice after sitting so long on our shins. And then bring that knee back underneath of the hip and take the opposite side. Perfect. And then come on back to all fours. You can take the blocks out of the way for now. Come back onto hands and knees. And we'll take the classic cat-cow. So again, nice restorative practice, rejuvenative in its own way, good action of the spine. We're going to use the spine as a back bend and forward bend here.
So, Jill, your chakras are moving.
Yes,
You're getting all warmed
I'm getting all warmed up. That's part of the process. Let's take an inhale. We're going to lift the chest up, but still the low belly pulls in. So I'll show your audience. You don't want to sink into the low back. You want to make sure the low back stays secure and broad. And that's your inhale. Exhale. Now you can really round the back, look right at your navel, and stretch that spine. That should feel dynamite. Inhale, reach the heart forward, but let the tail, sitting bones stay back. Good. And exhale, round. And Banu, you might be able to hear on the mic, inhale. Go ahead and continue, few breaths, your own breath count, is practicing what's known as Ujjayi breathing. I'll be quiet so you can hear it. So it sounds like an ocean wave. What she's doing is contracting very slightly the back of her throat. It helps concentrate the breath. It makes a beautiful meditative sound. It's one of the more advanced techniques of Hatha Yoga, of a yoga asana practice, but you can certainly try it. And then it becomes second nature like anything else. And then come on back to your neutral spine. So the head reaches away from the tail. Curl your toes under, and we'll come into down dog. Before we do that, let's talk a little bit about the wrists. A lot of beginners, when they start to practice yoga, they have discomfort in their wrists, and there's a couple of reasons why. Number one, rarely do you walk around like this any time in life, and this is what we're doing, basically. Also, the tendency is to allow the weight to go into the palm of the hand and then right into the wrist. So what you want to start practicing right away is to keep the weight more into the back of the knuckles of the hands. And then press the thumb mound, index knuckle, and pinky knuckle a little bit more acutely to distribute the weight. And then from here, the toes will curl under, and you'll lift your seat up, and you'll come into an upside down V position. This is called downward facing dog. It's the pose that you see in all the ads that use yoga. Sarah, I'm watching your feet again. The outside edges should line up with one another. Yes.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So your feet stay what we call square. That's it. The heels almost a little bit wider than the toes. Very nice, ladies. Couple more breaths here. Press the floor away with your hands. Let your heels vector down, your seat go up. Nicely done. And then come on back to your hands and knees. Good job. So that's a beautiful stretch, a very enlivening stretch. You're supporting the extension of the spine through your hands and your legs, the nice strong organs of action. And then we'll come into a child's pose. So you're going to take your knees just a little wider than your hips. Big toes touch. And then you'll reach your sitting bones down towards your heels.
I couldn't wait for that.
Oh yes, Bono, this is everyone's favorite pose, mine included. If you wanted to, you could rest your forehead on a block. If you want to try that just to see what it feels like, you may or may not need it. Yeah.
What's it do?
It makes the pose a little bit more restful. How does that feel, Sarah?
Like I could go to sleep.
Yeah, there you go. Proof is in the pudding. Excellent. So this is one of those poses that we can use anytime during a yoga class. You can use it to rest. You can also use it to wake up a little bit if you're more active through the arms, and sometimes there's variations on the pose that we do. But for today, we're just focusing more on restorative, gentle type of poses. Though we have a saying in yoga class, no rest for the weary. So let's come back to our hands and knees, and then you can just sit back on your heels, and we'll work a little bit more with the blocks. You're going to put the blocks once again at the top of your mat. We'll do some lunges. And then why don't we have the 2 blocks?
Yeah, I'm collecting all this.
Yes, I know. How come you've got 4 blocks over there?
2 for you, 2 for me. Jill doesn't need it. You want some?
No, I'll and you may not need them, but it's kind of nice to try.
Right.
We'll bring your hands onto the blocks once again. And I find it's a little more secure when the heel of my hand is at the edge of the block, because we're going to come back into that downward facing dog pose with our hands on the block. Good. And Sarah, you can walk your feet back towards the back of your mat more. You can get more of a stretch of the spine. Nice. Now you're going to lift your head, look where you're going, which is between your hands, and you're going to step your right foot forward between your hands. You can come up to your fingertips on the blocks, and we're coming into, I think it's called runner's lunge, basically. So again, you want to extend that spine through the action of the arms and the legs. Take a couple of breaths here, and then ground the palms and step back into your downward facing dog. And we'll take the other side. So you lift the head, you look where you're going. Step your left foot forward, come on up to your fingertips. A lot of actions here. You're drawing the front knee away from the back heel. Good. You feel that nice extension? Beautiful, both of you. Couple of breaths here, and then
It's a
step
very
back.
active posture, right?
Yes.
This one, because your knees are off. The right knee is off of the floor.
Yes, it is. It is rather active, and it's nice because we kind of built up to it
Right.
through our stretching, and we'll calm down after. But just thought we'd wake up those legs, and then come on back, downward facing dog. And then one more variation. So lift your head, look where you're going. Step your right foot forward. The blocks do help make it a little bit more restorative, I think, because you're going to keep your left hand on the block, but you're going to stretch your right arm up. So nice and easy. Keep the breath smooth and steady.
Oh.
Yes. And then you can come down. That's it. And step back, down dog.
It's, I believe in psychology terms, it's called visual capture. We do what we see,
Oh,
not
yes.
what you tell us.
Yes, and let's do the other side. And I'll tell you about that too, as far as teaching technique goes. Step your left foot forward. Keep your right hand down and your left arm up. Good. One of the first things that we learn as yoga teachers is to instruct without doing, because this way we get to watch our students,
Right.
and the students will start to, what was the term you used?
The visual capture.
Yes, and we don't want them to be visually capturing us. We need
Right.
them to look within. And bring your left hand down, step back, down dog. You guys did great. Come onto your hands and knees and take your child's pose. So knees a little bit apart, big toes touch, sitting bones down towards the heels. Again, optional, you could rest your head on a block, a little bit more restful. Or at the very least, always move any props out of the way. Beautiful. And then you're going to walk your hands back towards your knees. Come to sit up on your shins. And I think we'll do one more variation of cat-cow, and use that to, again, warm up the spine a little bit and do some release.
Yeah, we have about 4 minutes, so we're ready.
Perfect.
For
We've
anything.
got, oh, excellent. You got a lot done in 4 minutes.
No head start.
It's funny, 4 minutes, you were lucky because I was going to throw some more abdominal work in, but
Oh.
yeah, we won't.
Whatever you say, Jill.
Yeah, right. I'm messing around and catch another cramp like the other day.
I'd rather
No,
do
no,
the.
Jill will take it.
Yeah, I'd rather do something a little bit more juicy, as they said. Now, I was going to say, we're really in good shape because we have the rug and then beautiful thick mats. We're going to stand up on our knees. So my point being, if you needed a little bit more padding at home,
Right.
you could put a blanket underneath, or you could double up your mat. Sometimes, remember in class, we used to take the top of the mat and
Right.
put it down because we're going to be standing on our knees for a while. So this is a variation on that cat-cow that we did,
Right.
but a little bit more active. So we're going to start sitting on our heels and bring our knees slightly apart so they're in line with the hips, and again, sit up nice and tall. So we've got this rocking. We did this several times.
Yeah.
Now, inhale, we're going to stand up on our knees and reach the arms up. On our exhale, we're going to bring the arms back down to the floor. Sarah, you might need to move back a little bit. Yep. Then we're going to take an inhale and come to that cow pose, so the chest moves between the arms. We're going to start to round into cat, but then we're going to take the hips back as if we were coming into child's pose. Keep the arms straight. Don't let the hips touch the heels, but traction the spine through the arms. Can you feel that? You should feel a nice stretch along the sides. And then press the shins into the floor. Inhale, rise up on the knees once again. So there's a little bit of ab work in here. And then come to sit back down on the heels. So this is called a vinyasa, where we're linking the postures with the breath. So we'll go through that again. Inhale, up. Exhale, hands down. Inhale, heart forward. And exhale, dome the back and pull back. Nice stretch, tractioning stretch. Inhale, rise up. And exhale, sit on down. Excellent. Do it again.
Yeah.
Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands down. Inhale, heart forward. Exhale, hips back. Inhale to rise up. And exhale, sit on down. Beautiful. So sometimes the most restorative of all the yoga actions is to be moving smoothly with the breath like that.
Right. Oh, it feels so good.
Wasn't it nice? So why don't we do this? Take an easy twist over to one side.
While we're in the twist, I'd like to thank our crew, Josie and Hurd and Carol Lewis, and our facilitator. Who was our facilitator today? I believe it was Kristen Kofa. Thank you so much for the great studio setup. On behalf of Sarah Torres and our special guest Jill Camera, this is Banu Suresh signing off, and you are watching Yogaxpress.
Thank you, Banu. And of course, switch sides.
Oh, that feels so good, Jill. Sarah, are we ready to go bar hopping? To get a pint of wellness?
I want to work out my new back. My back feels brand new.
Yeah. Doesn't it? That's a lovely way to
Oh,
put it
beautiful.
so well,
I am so
yeah.
happy. Yes, that's the, again, I always say the proof is in the pudding. It really does the trick. And then we could come back to center, and let's do one more symmetrical pose. Always nice to finish when you've done something on either side. Maybe just fold a little forward, bow down. I always like to thank all my dear teachers and friends and family.
You know, this is the bowing that we do to our elders. It's a respectful bowing that we do at home, except that it's a little bit different. The knees may go back just a little bit, but that's exactly a term of respect, a form of respect.
Oh, that's beautiful, Banu. It's always nice to have some reverence in your life, right? And then we can come on up. And namaste. Thank you so
that
much.
feels beautiful. We really are fully
Thank you
charged.
for teaching me how to massage my back.
See?
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. And you did it so nicely. It was like flowing. You know, we did all the different directions of the spine that the spine could move, and then you moved from the upper part of the spine, and then came down all the way full. Wasn't that great?
Yeah, wow.
Very nice.
Yes.
Very sequential. Very nice. We loved it. Thank you, Jill.
My pleasure.
So, is it a promise you're going to come at least once a month?
Yes, that was my promise.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
Beautiful.
We're looking forward to it. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Me too.
Those of you who are home stretching with us, and if we're still rolling, I'd like to invite you to come right here on the mats and experience teachers, amazing teachers like Jill Camera. Stretch with her, and you know what? It doesn't cost you anything, so come. No excuses not to stretch.
And we even do things on the couch, so
That's
you don't
right.
even have to get up off the couch.
Only stretching on the couch.
Right.
Right.